El Niño, El Niño, El Niño. You cannot escape that word right now. It's on news channels and weather reports and all over your social media feed. But does everyone actually understand it? What exactly is El Niño? Why does a climate phenomenon in the Pacific Ocean matter so much to India? And how could it affect everything, from our monsoon rains to the price of the food on our plates? I'm Lavanya, and in this episode of The Climate Brief, we are breaking all of that down. This is the Pacific Ocean. Think of it as the control room of the world's climate. Under normal conditions, strong trade winds push warm surface water from east to west across the Pacific.
That warm water piles up near Indonesia. And near Peru, cold water rises up to replace the warm water.
The warm water heats the air above it, warm air rises, and a low-pressure system builds over the Western Pacific and Indian Ocean. Now, on the other side, India's landmass is heating up through summer, and that warm air rises, creating its own low pressure. The Indian Ocean between both of these systems is full of moisture. This moisture gets pulled northward towards India and is part of why India gets monsoon rains every year. Enter El Niño. This means trade winds weaken and warm water slides back towards South America instead of Asia, and the Pacific Ocean becomes warmer than usual. Because of this, the low pressure sitting over the Western Pacific and Indian Ocean weakens and shifts away from India. So the moisture reduces, India experiences dry spells and a suppressed monsoon, and in worst cases, drought. The opposite is La Niña. During this, trade winds are stronger than usual, so more warm water is piled up, which means more moisture, leading to more than normal rainfall in India. Together, El Niño and La Niña, and the neutral state in between, make up what's called El Niño Southern Oscillation, or ENSO. Think of it as a giant pendulum swinging between all three. Since 1950, India has experienced 17 El Niño events, and these episodes have occurred roughly once every 4 years. However, they do not follow a fixed schedule, as El Niño events are known to recur every 2 to 7 years, with episodes lasting 9 to 12 months. India depends on the southwest monsoon for nearly 70% of its annual rainfall. But El Niño disrupts that, and this has 4 major consequences. Think of it as a traffic jam in the atmosphere that blocks the neutral monsoon route. Impact 1. Hotter days. El Niño means longer and more intense heat waves, ones that stretch beyond our usual March to June cycle. Even without El Niño, we are facing record high temperatures and frequent heat waves because of global warming. Take a look at this graph on global average temperature change. When El Niño arrives every few years, temperatures spike sharply above that already rising baseline. So now you're already sweating with the brutal summer heat. But then El Niño strikes and pushes the heat even higher. So cozy nights? Not now. In fact, an IMD study found that of 17 El Niño years, between 1961 and 2020, 11 recorded heat wave spells lasting more than 15 days. Impact 2. Less rainfall. Stick with me. I'm going to give you a few numbers. 60% of El Niño years have faced below normal rainfall in India. The 2009 El Niño had the worst impact. Monsoon rainfall that year fell by 22%. While not every El Niño causes a severe drought, every severe drought in India has been accompanied by an El Niño event. Between 1950 and 2014, India faced 13 droughts, and 10 of them fell in El Niño years. The bottom line from all these numbers, you need to be ready for less rain this year. But wait, the effects aren't the same all across India. While the north, west, central regions face the highest drought risk, southern and eastern coasts have seen excess rainfall and flooding. Low rain, higher heat. I'm sure you see where this is going. Impact 3. Reduced agricultural output. When rainfall weakens, the kharif crop takes a major hit. Sowing decisions become riskier, farmers depend heavily on groundwater or irrigation pumps, and agri output reduces drastically. In fact, one of the deadliest humanitarian crises in history, which claimed an estimated 5.5 to 8.2 million lives, happened when a powerful El Niño coincided with a monsoon failure. While effects aren't always that extreme, since 1956, food grain production has declined in 57% of El Niño episodes. And in 2022, a heat wave during the grain filling stage of wheat caused yield losses of 15 to 25%. And this leads us to the problem that will directly affect you. Impact 4. Inflation. When supply doesn't meet demand, food prices climb and you see this inflation sneaking into your household budgets. Let's take a quick trip to 2023 Japan to understand this better. Heat waves driven by El Niño devastated rice harvests, leading to a nationwide shortage, which meant rice prices had almost doubled in a single year. And in a country where agriculture accounts for nearly 18% of the GDP and employs around 40% of the population, like in India, what can El Niño do? As of April 2026, food inflation is at 4.2%. So how much more will a weaker monsoon push it? So no, El Niño isn't just a climate issue, it's an economical one. Short answer, the El Niño arriving in 2026 is not arriving in the same world as the previous ones. We already saw how climate change is already making extreme weather events more frequent, but El Niño arriving just adds fuel to that fire, taking conditions that are already stressed and pushing them further. The last decade has been the warmest ever recorded globally, which means the same El Niño event that caused disruption 30 years ago causes so much more damage today because the starting point is warmer. So imagine a warmer baseline plus higher El Niño temperatures, which means your woes with the heat are only going to get worse. Then there is the West Asia conflict, which is already straining global food systems through fuel and fertilizer shortages. So even if farmers manage to produce through a difficult monsoon, petrol prices are up, which means transportation costs go up, which means the price of your groceries goes up, regardless of what happens in the field. Important disclaimer, El Niño raises the risk of a weak monsoon, but it isn't the only factor that determines how much rain India actually gets. There is another player called the Indian Ocean Dipole, or IOD, which measures the temperature difference between the western and eastern Indian Ocean. When the western side is warmer, it improves moisture flow towards India and partially offsets El Niño's suppressive effect. So, acting like a buffer. This year though, the IMD has forecast neutral IOD conditions throughout the monsoon season. The IMD has revised its monsoon forecast to 90% of the long period average, with a 60% chance of a deficit or deficient season. The big question, should we panic? No. El Niño arriving is a warning signal, so we can act before things get worse. And while we may not have all the answers yet, I hope this video has helped make sense around El Niño, so the next time someone asks about it, you know exactly what to say. Comment below to let us know what you think and subscribe to The Climate Brief for more such stories.